normally when I come up each year, I try and do some jokes or something and try and make you laugh. But then last year, for those that weren't here, I did a bit of a thing about the founder of Welsh Motorsport and where it all began. Then after the dinner, lots of people said to me, go back to the jokes or whatever. But some people wanted some more like motorsport history. Now I know they say, right, that if you try and please everyone, you please nobody. But I'm kind of used to that. If you don't believe me, ask Emma, because I've been married for 20 years and I've very rarely pleased her. So tonight, I'm going to start with, and what we've called it is, or what I've called it, is the hero of motorsport, where we do a toast. So I tell you something about some hero in motorsport. This one you've probably already heard of, though, unfortunately. We give him a toast and then we move on and we try and have a bit of fun. All right? So who I wanted to toast tonight is a man by the name of Percey Lambert. And Percey Lambert was born in 1881. And Brooklands was the first motor circuit in the UK that opened in 1907. And I never realised at times they had over 280,000 spectators. But he drove a streamlined Austin, which was named Pearly 3. And he was sponsored by Lord Shrewsbury. But he was the first man, and I'll tell you what date it was in a second when I find it on my list. I can't find it, I'll tell you when I find it in a minute. But he was the first man to be clocked at doing over 100 mile an hour, and he set the record. 103 mile an hour in fact, and some people claim that it was almost 104. And so he set this record and everybody celebrated, and he was like the big name of the day, if you know what I mean. He was the driver of the day. But he had a fiancée, and he promised his fiancée that he was going to stop racing, stop trying to set records, and that he'd settle down and get married. But then these pesky frogs come over, and 8 months later, and they set a record, and they set a record in a sunbeam at 107 miles an hour. So he spoke to his fiancée, I'm imagining, because I don't really know, but he spoke to his fiancée and he agreed that he would do one more race, one more attempt to try and get the record to put it back into British hands. And on the 31st of October 1913, with the sponsorship from Lord Shrewsbury, he managed to do it. He went out at 9:20 in the morning, and on the 20th lap, he achieved 110.4 mile an hour. Now this is a long time ago. You can imagine what that must have been like in an open top car, up on the high bank, you know. He was right on the top of the bank. His fiancée, Lord Shrewsbury, was there, and a load of other like elites or whatever. And they were all celebrating that he'd done this record. But then on the following lap, his rear tyre burst out. It was a revolutionary wheel, apparently. It was a wooden wheel with a steel lining and then a rubber tyre. And it gave out and the car flipped over and he face planted the concrete, basically. And so he died later that day on his way to the hospital, and he never managed to obviously get married. And so that's the man that set the record that we're all trying to achieve. All right, we get over 100 mile an hour nowadays, but we're trying to set new records. He was the first man to get over 100. He also took the record back from the French, and we all want to do that, don't we? Take the records off the French at 110 mile an hour. And so I thought he was deserving of this year to be the man that we raise a glass to, and so we don't forget him, and that was Percey Lambert.